Venezolana Televisión El Pueblo decide elecciones 2025 desde la Escuela Ecológica Bolivariana Simón Rodríguez, ubicada en el complejo
Venezuelan capital Caracas, as the Bolivarian President Nicolás Maduro has arrived here at this school, at this voting center, to exercise his democratic right in these legislative and regional elections that are being held this Sunday, May 25th. We're seeing the President alongside the first combatant of Venezuela, Cilia, Flores, who are arriving here. They're greeting the people, the officials in charge of security of the center. Remember, there are over 400,000 officials deployed all across the country, guaranteeing and ensuring the safety of the electoral process, which so far no incidents have been reported. It's been developed in complete calm and tranquility. President Nicolás Maduro is right now exchanging some words on how the elections have been going on, how the situation is, and he's also going to carry on and greet all the different authorities, officials of the electoral power that have been deployed. Nearly 500,000 officials have been deployed across the nation to accompany this electoral process. So these are the live images we are getting from Caracas. The President of the Bolivarian Republic, Nicolás Maduro, just arrived here at this voting center, where he's about to exercise his democratic right, his right to vote in these paramount legislative and regional elections, which for the first time also includes the region of Guayana Esequiba. That is also the people in Guayana Esequiba. Over 21,000 voters are also called to participate in this election, an election that marks a step forward for peace, a step forward for the continued unity of the Bolivarian nation. We continue to see how President Nicolás Maduro, alongside first combatant Cilia Flores, are working towards the polling stations where they're going to exercise their right to vote, and the process continues to greet all those that are here, both the officials, security officials that are taking part in ensuring the safety of the voting day, and the officials, the electoral officials and volunteers that are also accompanying this electoral vote, and also from that kind of balcony that is one of the hall of the school, greeting as well the people that are also in line waiting to exercise their right to vote in this election. So now we're seeing the first of the two that is going to exercise her right to vote. Is the first combatant, Cilia Flores. She just went in the room where the polling station is located, and as we are seeing the process, you're going to be able to see how fast and easy it is. So firstly, as we have talked in previous occasion, this is the horseshoe system. It's in a U shape. All the points are make a U shape, and this is the first step. As we are seeing, Cilia Flores delivered her ID, which is the only document that Venezuelans have to present when they get here to a polling station. Once she delivers her ID, she puts her fingerprint on a machine, which opens the way to go to where she is now, the place where the vote is cast, which is secret. In Venezuela, the vote is not mandatory and is secret. It's a will of the people. It's their choice to go and exercise this democratic right provided by the Constitution. You see, it's very quick, it's very effective. She goes there, there's a machine where she casts her ballot. The machine gives her a physical copy of that ballot where she can check, the person that votes can check if the information is correct. Then they put it in the ballot box that is right next to it, and finally signs the voter book, which is also a way to check, to prove that there's one vote, one person, is all unison at the same time, very quickly, a minute, less than a minute, and the whole voting process is completely finished. And like this, the first combatant, Cilia Flores, exercised her right to vote in these paramount legislative and regional elections, which for the first time is being held in the same day. Previously, Venezuela will hold one election, one Sunday will be the legislative, and then another Sunday will be the regional for regional legislators. But on this occasion, is the first time. That's why it's also described as a mega election, because it's also the first time that it comprises both electoral processes in one day. And so far, both of these have been reported that is moving forward in a peaceful manner, and is going forward as accordingly as it was established to happen. We are seeing here as well that the President Nicolás Maduro and the first combatant are greeting Camila Fabri and Alex Saab, who are also exercising their vote here in this school. They have all come here with their families into this Democratic Party. The Venezuelan president is shortly about to enter the polling station to also exercise his right to vote. This is an image that has been replicated all over the country. Families coming together, whole families coming together to the different polling stations set up across the nation. Over 27,000 polling stations that are inside over 15,000 voting centers that have been established by the electoral authorities all over the country, all over the national territory. So we're seeing the first combatant, Cilia, Flores, coming down where the journalists are. The people are also standing in line. We might have some declarations, some statements coming from the first combatant, and of course we're going to be paying attention to have those statements right here live on our signal. We are going to get ready to listen to the statements of Cilia or the President Nicolás Maduro. But this has been the process that has been happening across the nation. People coming out in families together peacefully to exercise their right. Let's listen to the
early today. My husband, Nicolás Maduro, and we woke up very early and we started watching television to watch the whole mobilization of the people. All the media coverage. We sat down, had a little coffee, and we watched how everybody started going to the polling stations early as families to exercise their vote. And we later heard statements by elderly, young people, and we are very moved and very proud of this Venezuelan people, which once again has answered the call of democracy. The whole country is focused on these elections to find rain, rivers, any obstacles. These people are not only voting for governors and deputies to the National Assembly, they are also voting for peace, democracy, participation. We have a participatory democracy, and this is one example of it, because these people, this is a conscious people, an organized people, from communal circuits, social movements, movements of women and youth and elders, drivers, workers, women. We have seen that this organized movement towards the election has come to fruition today, and we are very proud and very committed with these people coming out of their homes today to tell the world that here we are a sovereign people, that we choose our representatives, and the only way to be a public servant is through vote. No one here will impose their will. No one will assault an office, because all offices belong to the people, an aware and mobilized people. So we are very proud and committed every day more with these people, and we want love and love. This has been a love demonstration by the people. And those who would be elected will have to answer to that much love, to a people that has transparently and joyfully exercised their voting right on this day. Today we have fulfilled our civic duty with Venezuela, with the future. Our future belongs to us, to our children, to our youth, and it will be a peaceful, prosperous future. What lies ahead is much better, so thank you very much to all media, showing to the world this process in Venezuela. We love you all.
Where
We were
to
listening
the
to the words
statements of the first combatant, Cilia Flores, who, after exercising her right to vote, expressing how her pride in seeing the Venezuelan people to come out in such large numbers to exercise their right to vote and to vote for the peace and stability of the country and to vote for the future of the country. Cilia, the first combatant, pledged the commitment of the authorities to continue working for the people, by the people, always for the future of Venezuela, and saying that the best is yet to come for Venezuela as they are continuing to work very hardly in union with all the different authorities. Now we are seeing live the image as the President Nicolás Maduro is entering one of the polling stations here in this voting center at this school to exercise his right to vote in these legislative and regional elections. As the first combatant before, we see the President delivers his ID, the only required document to be presented for the electoral process for any Venezuelan citizens to participate in this electoral party. Following, he puts his finger on the machine for the fingerprint, which allows to go to the next machine, to the next spot in this horseshoe system, that where the president, in this case, President Nicolás Maduro, and all voters follow the same process. They cast their ballot there in the machine, which later gives the physical copy of the vote, which we're seeing there, President Maduro holding on his right hand, to then put that physical ballot inside the ballot box. And there you have two ways. You have the physical one, which is also used to check the electronic one. That's why also in Venezuela the results are given quite soon, because it's all electronic, but then you also have the physical copy to corroborate that all votes coincide. And following, to finish the voting process, President Nicolás Maduro is signing the voters' book, the voters' register, where all voters that have cast their ballot also sign there, and is proof: one vote, one voter. This, and we see this again, a minute, and like this is for all voters that are going out to the polls this Sunday in these legislative and regional elections. Very, very quick, very effective, very easy, and very secure voting system, which has been proven over and over again in all the elections that have been held in Venezuela. 32 elections in 26 years, in the past 26 years, 32 democratic elections where the Venezuelan people decide for the future, decide for the path that they want their country to move forward. Remember that in these elections, the Venezuelan people is electing for the electoral period for the term 2026, 2031. The Venezuelan people are electing the 285 national deputies to the National Assembly. He is also electing 260 regional legislators, which is the first time that this is kind of election, and they are both held at the same time, because they were held separately in different days, but this is the first time that they're both held at the same time, as well as the 24 governors of each state. The President is preparing to give statements. Yes, in a moment, let's go and listen to the statements of President
Good afternoon to all. It's 2 p.m., 14 minutes past the hour on this 25th of May 2025. We're very happy with all the process that is unfolding, although it's something that's been repeated before, said before. So we have here 70 international observers. I say hi to all of you coming from over 54 countries. You have seen other polling stations. You can see the technology being used and how rapid the process is. While other countries are voting like in the 19th century, we have modernized our voting system, and we will improve it every day more. This is our 32nd election. The world should know that this is the 32nd election, and we will continue to have more elections. 32 constitutional elections we have held so far. 6 elections with this one for the National Assembly. In 2000, the National Uni-Chamber Assembly created in 2009. In 2005, the opposition relinquished their rights to be part of the National Assembly, and it was the best election we had, because when you have an adversary leaving the field, that was in 2005, in 2010. In 2010 we had competition, but we won. In 2015 we lost it to the right. Remember all the prominent figures of the left, of the right. And this is the 6th elections for the National Assembly, Uni-Chamber Assembly, with all the constitutional framework established in 1999. We had the first one in 2004, 2008, 2017, 12 and 17. The Constitutional Assembly brought peace, and then we arranged the elections for governors, and we won that election because we were all a united front, and we won 8 governorships out of 23. And in 2021, after my election, we had a 6th election for the National Assembly, and today is the 7th election. So those who speak rubbish sometimes, people who like to talk things that are not true about Venezuela. This is the country with more free and democratic elections in the world in the last 100 years of humanity, and this is no exaggeration. We have 54 parties registered. There was not one incident, no violent incident. No candidate has been harmed through the process. We don't like violence. There was nothing of that. Not one violent incident. Where other countries that keep on criticizing Venezuela, they cannot say the same about Venezuela. It's a civic, Pacific country. And despite the rain, people are turning out to vote. We don't have screens here to be able to see. There, I'm seeing the Antonio Diaz municipality. They stood under the rain for 3 hours, and they went like that to vote. Honor and glory to them. Natives, Guarao tribe. It reminds me when the right was trying to sabotage the Constitutional Assembly, and the people went out and crossed rivers. We need to follow the example of the Guarao tribe today, of that willingness for peace, because when the people vote, they're voting for peace. Diosdado has great news through these days, because we have made it. We made this election possible, and we have overcome violence which had been plotted against this country. We have neutralized them. That's not the issue. I don't want to talk about that. But there is a lot of evidence of plots that we were able to dismantle. They wanted to blow up voting stations, so we had to use the army to reinforce security in all electoral centers. Out of the 40,000 electoral polling stations that we set up across the country, for 3 days in a row, they attacked refineries. They targeted a hydroelectrical power station in El Yuri, and against prominent figures of the revolution as well, and against other opposition leaders, and I won't say more. But we have defeated those plans, and the world knows about this. So it's good news in general. And we need to respect the electoral system. In the morning, I published a video on TikTok which has become viral, and I want you to like the video so that I can make some money out of TikTok. No, that's a joke. I am not allowed to. If I could draw any income from videos on social media, I would be a multimillionaire. Those who vote choose governors and deputies to the National Assembly. And it's such a great thing to do. It's you feel that you have fulfilled your civic responsibility. We are choosing a group of governors. All those who would be elected, who win, regardless of your political background, you will have my respect. There is a wonderful process. Okay. This time we have a wonderful process, beautiful process going on in the Essequiba, Guyana, exercising the sovereignty of Bolivar's homeland over the Essequiba territory. Because it's a territory illegally occupied by the British Empire, and it has been destroyed by foreign powers. Illegal mining has destroyed the environment and polluted rivers, and now with a governor there with a budget and all the support that we will give him, we are going to retake that area for the Venezuelan people that lives there and those who want to go there to live. Many young people, professionals, they want to go to the Essequiba, Guyana to construct a legitimate Venezuelan sovereignty in that territory. So many important things to vote today. Peace is fundamental. With that image of those Indians, those native people marching towards a polling station regardless of the rain, defying the rain, that's very inspiring, because anything can be possible for peace. And all of the Venezuelan people in this afternoon will still have until 6 p.m. to go. So anyone watching this through media, social media, or through any television station or radio, even the walls are broadcasting. Anyone watching us now, please go out to vote, because your vote decides who will be the governor in your state, or who would the members of the National Assembly be to guide Venezuela from 2026 till 2032. president for Sputnik world. We have traveled across the center of Caracas. People are happy and voting. However, the right media is given a different narrative. What is the strategy of Venezuela to break this media attack? In your opinion, which is the main important objective of this National Assembly? First, doing whatever we have been doing all these years. In 2005, they withdrew from the race 2 days before the election to the National Assembly. They lost everything. And then on January 5, 2006, we established the National Assembly. And that is the most fruitful National Assembly we had. It created communal councils, and it passed law on all issues in the country. And they burnt the country. On that vote, on the day we voted for that assembly, I remember the explosions, the shots being fired. They wanted to prevent people from voting, but they lost everything. Then we had elections for governors, and we won there. Then elections for mayors, and we won. And then for the president of the republic. And look at my picture in 2018. I was kind of fat at the time. And at the time, we also had to face the same sabotaging campaign. And we have ruled, we faced sanctions, we faced Guaido, and we overcame, and we are here. They are nothing, like somebody said, those who create such campaigns against. And second question, what are my objectives as a head of state? First, I have talked with the Commission to reform the Constitution, and we have agreed on launching a consultation process wider so that in next January we might be able to hand over to the National Assembly a constitutional reform project to the new assembly that we're choosing today. And then there's another idea in my mind.
Electoral, ¿verdad, Cilia? Cilia es experta. Mira, aquí está Nico. Y Jorge también es experto. Está la almirante en jefe por acá. Voy a decir gobernadora de Caracas, no, alcaldesa de Caracas.
Here we have the mayor of Caracas. So one idea that I have, we need to modernize, widen. Our electoral system should match our political system. So I'm going to work in order to submit to the new assembly a reform of all electoral laws, to create an electoral system at community level as a new system of permanent public consultation where people, it would be a re-engineering and updating process. And we should remember now Cilia Lucena, a great comrade of ours. May God rest her soul. She was the architect of the system, and now we need to become all architects of the system and create a new, updated system. We need to focus on the fact that where the family resides in the communities, that's where the consultation should take place. We need to build a permanent democratic consultation process. The electoral power needs to be transformed and speak the language of people. We're broadcasting live. President, today we're electing over 200 members to the National Assembly. What do you think of the people being running for that? And which is the importance of respecting the results of these elections? Venezuela knows that there is a sector, an extreme sector in the opposition, although defeated. They do not know what respecting democratic rules means. They want to exterminate the part of the population that backs the Chavez revolution. Who knows who Pedro Carmona is? See, many people, young people, don't know who he is. They would like to do as he did, to erase all public powers, all the institutionality of the country, to dismantle the armed forces, anything that reminds them of the homeland. And when they have taken part in an electoral process, they want to destabilize the country. They have depleted their resources. I'm sure that the results to be announced tonight, I'm sure that the people will be the absolute winner of these elections, given 54 parties that have taken part in this election. What do I expect after these results? Greater dedication to their territories, to the people, not to have members of the assembly who only visit their communities, the communities that voted for them once in every 5 years. We need to become parliamentaries on the street so that the country may have more spaces, participatory spaces. Because what's democracy? Democracy is the power of the people, by the people, and for the people. Not like in other countries where a demagogue rises every 4 or 5 years. Democracy needs to be exercised at communities. I invite all people, elders, youngsters, men, women, to go as families, to go to vote. You have until 6 p.m. because this voting is the most beautiful, satisfying thing there is. A family that votes united remains united. Can I go now? Representing teleSUR, what message is the people of Venezuela given to the world through these elections, especially considering that we're choosing a governor for the Essequiba Guyana? So what do you think is the message given by Venezuela? Well, first of all, it's a message of coherence, because on December 3rd, 2023, the Venezuelan people decided to create the state of Essequiba Guyana. And we have coherently approved a law for the Essequiba Guyana. And now we needed to hold the first election for that territory to choose a deputy to the National Assembly. After 200 years of fight, this is the first time they will have a representative at the National Assembly. And this is a very pacific process which should not have the interference of anybody, because this historical dispute is being handled by the United Nations. And the ExxonMobil representative in Guyana sooner or later will have to sit down with me so that we can make the rights of the Venezuelan people.
We will listen to the statements of the President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, after exercising his right to vote. He was speaking to the journalists, the news, the press that is gathered here as they were answering the question. He was giving his statements. The President thanked the work of international observers, which is the people that he's greeting right now. He said he was going to greet the international observers and the important work they carry in bringing the news of the reality of Venezuela back to their countries, to the world, of the effectiveness of the good system, the electoral system, and how democratic and transparent all this voting process is. President Nicolás Maduro reaffirmed that so far no incidents have been reported and praised the electoral system, saying that Venezuela is the first country to be in an electoral system that belongs to the 21st century, while many other countries still remain in the 19th century, which is something that is being corroborated as well by the international observers. Over 400 came to Venezuela this Sunday to take part of this electoral party, which is the people that the Venezuelan president is currently greeting and sharing with them, as we see on our screens. The president also referred that Venezuela has held 32 elections in 26 years, which he described Venezuela as the most democratic country in the world in the last 100 years. And evidence of this is all this electoral process where the will of the people is shown, where the will of the people is expressed and respected by the authorities. He was also highlighting the peaceful nature of all this electoral process. In this occasion, 54 political parties, political organizations registered to participate in these mega elections, and not a single incident was reported, highlighting this peaceful nature of this electoral process. He also praised the will of the people, which is the area that he highlighted the most. The Venezuelan people and their will to come out and vote, despite the very heavy rains that have been registered in different parts of the country. And even though it was pouring cats and dogs, people went to the streets, people went to their polling stations to exercise their democratic vote and vote for peace, vote for prosperity, and vote for the well-being of Venezuela. President Nicolás Maduro also said that this electoral day was a clear defeat of those extremist plans planned by that far-right sector that intended to sabotage the elections, to boycott the elections, and to generate chaos and violence. He was referring to different plans that were dismantled, and there were some that he mentioned, and there were several others that he said that he rather not mention them. He was referring to the attack on official figures, both of the Bolivarian Revolution and opposition figures that are currently participating in this electoral day. Also the attack to voting centers that were being planned, but thanks to the deployment of the Operation Republic plan and to the hard work of all the security system of all the military, the officials that he greeted when he arrived, that he's greeting right now, that the president is greeting as he leaves the voting center, the hard work and their permanent attention, security has prevailed, peace has prevailed, and Venezuela continues to vote in peace this Sunday through all the process. The president also moving forward to later on the day when the results are known. The president, from his statements right after exercising his right to vote, the president expressed his willingness and extended his hand to all 24 state governors that are going to be elected today, no matter what side of the political spectrum they find themselves. He extended his hand to all the 24 governors that are going to be elected today to work together in the next 5 years for the well-being of Venezuela. He also called on the elected officials, we must remember 285 deputies to the National Assembly and the 260 regional legislators. They called all the officials that are elected today on this important election day to continue working, not to only work when it's campaign time, when it's election time, but to continue working alongside the people, to be on the streets, the people, to go door to door, to listen to the people, to listen to their needs, to listen to their concerns, and to continue carrying out this kind of policy of the officials working along their government authorities. These are the live images, the news, the latest news coming from Venezuela on this important election day. We saw the boat of the first combatant, Cilia Flores, and of the Bolivarian nation, the president of the Bolivarian nation, Nicolás Maduro, exercising their vote here in this important election, and their statements that were given. So this is the news that we were referring to. The President Maduro voted, the first combatant voted. They continue to make the call. They continue to make the call. There are still hours to go. They continue to call for people to come out and vote and take part in this electoral party. And with this information, let's now continue with everything that has to do with the election day. We're going to continue talking about this important day for the Venezuelan people, for the country. So in Venezuela, people, as we have been reporting, are going out to vote. They are voting in this first mega election. They are voting in this first mega election where they're going to elect the 285 deputies to the National Assembly. They are also electing 260 regional legislators, which is the first time, and they're also voting for 24 governors of all 24 states, which is the first time that this kind of election is held at the same time on the same day. And very importantly, the people of Guayana Esequiba is also taking part for the first time in over 200 years of history. They're taking part in these paramount elections today, which, as President Maduro was saying in his recent statements after exercising his right to vote, is very important for the strengthening of peace and for the strengthening of national sovereignty of the Venezuela, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, as now that region is going to have an elected representation, a governor representative, and they're going to have access. They're going to have access to the current budgets, as President Maduro announced that they will continue to provide budgets for that region to develop, to bring prosperity to the nation, to govern for the people that have been neglected so far by the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And the President of Venezuela, of course, continue to defend, as is proven in historical maps, the historic truth of the sovereignty of Venezuela over the Essequibo region. And also in his statement, he referred to the call to continue updating the system, in this case, the electoral system. And he called to continue to develop, to improve and update, and call it to transform, to adapt to the reality of the political system that wants to be created, that is the political system of the people, so that the circuits, the communal electoral circuits, have also more say and have more participation in Venezuelan democracy, which is being observed today by over 400 international observers. Let's go to continue now with more news on everything important going on in this paramount election day.